We are recording. Coach, you can start anytime with a statement if you want, or we can open with questions.
Questions are good. I can say Merry Christmas and Happy New Year. I guess that can be my statement.
So what was the trip like to get to Lubbock for this game?
Well, it was long because we had a log connection delay in Dallas, so didn't get in until about, I don't think we got to the hotel at about 11:30 last night. So it is what it is. It's kind of the times we're in. I never thought in my 30 years I'd play New Mexico and Lubbock, but that's what it is. So we just got to keep working. The guys did a great job. We were able to get them home for 4 or 5 days, which was really good, having the break. And everybody's come back good. And I'm anxious to see how we respond out of the Air Force game.
So your longest break of the year, I know you let them go away for a little while, but was there anything in particular you guys were working on to try and sharpen up as you jump back into kind of the mad scramble to finish the season?
Yeah, just as a young team, and we're really trying to help them as coaches, because you have to spend so much time and be sensitive to things really outside of basketball, because this is a year that, they're not going to class for the most part. It's a hybrid, but it's mostly online. These are usually young men that are seeing peers and going to class with peers, and you've got different things that go on in college that you're just not around people. And so they spend a lot of time alone. They spend a lot of time just in their apartments, or they're at the gym. So just making sure the guys, one, are doing okay. I think that's what Christmas really helped them. We came back with a good energy, and guys had a lot of enthusiasm to them. So you could tell just getting home to see parents, maybe grandparents, siblings, whatever, that helped them a little bit. But I think from a basketball standpoint, we showed our youth a little bit. Even going back to the San Diego game in which we won, you're up 15, and in 5 minutes you're down 2. That's a young basketball team that doesn't understand. I think we talked about it last year, Chris, with a team that we inherited. We had a veteran backcourt, but not a lot of experience in the roles that they were playing. Jazz was taking on a new role. Lindsay hadn't played. Niz was taking on a new role. Jalen was a sit-out guy. So, even though we had some experience there, not experiencing those roles, and we talked about it last year of just how they would handle when somebody punched them in the mouth and it was a 6-0 run. And we handled that pretty well last year. We didn't give up a lot of big runs. And now this year, with little experience at all and a lot of young guys, it's the same question. How do you handle when somebody punches you in the mouth? And we haven't handled that great. And we've given up some really big runs that we've got to learn from. And a lot of that just has to do with being more fundamental offensively, being more fundamentally defensively, of understanding the ebb and flow of a game. Air Force, we win by 16. In any given year, we'll play Air Force on a Thursday or Friday. You win that game by 16, and now somebody else is coming into play, or you're going to play somebody else. So it's easy for an athlete then to change their focus. Doesn't matter what you did last game. Here comes a different opponent. Well, now it's the same opponent, and you get that opponent down 9 at half. I know what our young team did. It's like, hey, we beat them 16 2 days ago. We're up 9 at half. We're going to beat them 16 again. And that's their approach. And then you get punched in the mouth to start the second half. And it's Air Force who goes on maybe their biggest run of the year. And we just didn't handle it well. We turned it over 17 times against a team that zones. So I think our fundamentals and our mindset has just got to understand it's a 40-minute game. We try to make them 4-minute games, win each of those 4-minute games, and we didn't win any of those 4-minute games the second half against Air Force.
Coach, what are some of your thoughts on the facility y'all will be playing in these next couple of games up there in Lubbock? It looks like it's about a fifth the size or so of what you're usually accustomed to playing in arena size-wise. From a player perspective, did that ever throw you off playing a way smaller gym as opposed to what you were used to?
Yeah, we'll probably have to wait and see, because we haven't been there yet. Our practice time's at 6 o'clock tonight, so we haven't been there yet. But I'm sure it's, I think it's a very nice facility. It's just smaller, but it's really what it is. It's not the Pit with 15,000 people in it. So even like, I was talking to somebody the other day, it's even these freshmen that we have and some of these new guys that haven't played. Next year, we're going to be talking about a lot of the same things because they're really not getting the experience that we'd hope they'd get playing road games, because road games really aren't road games and home games aren't home games. There's no crowds. So it's very, very different. I think you got San Jose and Boise playing in a fitness center in Phoenix. It's just, it's different of what we're going through right now. And I think all of us, from administrators to coaches, to our league office, we're just trying to figure out how we get games in and get the student athletes as much experience as we can. And so we have to just roll with the punches wherever those things may be. I think Boise and San Jose actually are playing in a fitness center one game and Grand Canyon another game. So it's sometimes you get multiple facilities in the same spot. I don't think it's, again, young players can focus on a lot of different things. But I think we got to focus on just getting better, trying to get better every game.
You mentioned the pit earlier. Does that take the pizzazz at all, if at any, out of facing New Mexico?
Well, with an extremely young team, I'd just soon play them here than in the pit. But I wish our guys could get the experience of playing on the road. I do wish that would happen, but it's just not. It's not something that's going to happen this year. So we understand that realization. I think, for instance, the Air Force game. I thought it really favored Air Force going into the second half because we're up 9 and we came out flat. Our guys, for whatever reason, came out of the locker room flat. If you've got a typical Lawler crowd there, I think that crowd helps that home team get out of being flat, getting out of whatever funk they were in to start the second half. With no crowd, with no noise, with no enthusiasm, then it's all about the players and what they can do. And when you haven't done it yet, I think that really favors the road team then. And so I think you see that. You're seeing that to where just about every one of these games to me are neutral games, whether you're playing in your building or not, just because it's not normal. So everything our guys are going through, they're doing it for the first time. Like a lot of these other teams, I just think it favors, teams like Boise, teams like San Diego State. They've got age to them. They've got a lot of experience to them. Colorado State, who I like a lot. Wyoming, who I like a lot. These are guys that maybe not a lot of seniors on their team, but they've got experience. They've got their starting fives back. And I think that always favors those teams in a year like this.
What have been your thoughts on the Mountain West so far this season as you've been able to see some of these teams develop?
Yeah, I think it's very early. You got San Diego State who hasn't played a league game yet, so it's very early. But just the things I've seen on either tape of teams that we've played, obviously just one of them, but watching some game film, I think San Diego State and Boise are the class of our league right now. I think they're old, they're mature, they're experienced, they've got all the pieces. So I think those are kind of the class. And then I think there's when you look at, I think Utah State's got some really good pieces. Colorado State and Wyoming, I've already mentioned, basically their starting fives are back and they've got some really good experience. And I think there's a lot of us then that are just, you're trying to gain experience, you're trying to get momentum, and you're trying to get better. And then see what that looks like when we come to tournament time. But can we get better going from December, January, February? Can we keep learning from different things that happen to us along the way that allows us to get better? Or do we go the other way? And I think we got a lot of teams in our league that are kind of in that boat.
Coach, was there any concern with players traveling home to see their parents, COVID tests coming back, that players that maybe aren't going to be eligible tomorrow?
There are a lot of concerns, and we weighed all those options. It's a great question. It's something we mulled over for a long time, but we sought out Dr. Islas, our medical staff. We sought out trainers and everybody at the school from administration. And I think we played on the 20th, if I got my dates right, 20th maybe, and then we weren't playing again until the 31st. So again, just that lone time of you're only going to practice so much when you got 11 days before you play again. So you're weighing the options of, you're going into so many other things this season, the mental health, a lot of things that you got to weigh in. And we just felt like, we brought these guys back here in June and they haven't had any break. They basically the campus has been empty. I mean, you'll see students every now and then, but it's just been an empty campus for so long that we just felt like after getting everything that, hey, let's let them go home. We're going to test them as soon as they get off the plane. We tested. We've had today we test again. So this will be I think our third or fourth test since we've been back, and we brought them back the 26th. So this will be at least our third, if not our fourth test. So, and we just really talked to them about being vigilant when you were home, try to, I know you want to hug mom, I know you want to hug dad and grandparents, but try to be smart in everything that you're doing with the gatherings, and be as cautious as you can. But you also gotta love, I think we're people, we're supposed to be around people, and especially family. So it's hard. It was hard on me. I wish I could have gotten home to Indiana. My son and daughter-in-law are back there. My parents are back there. My brother and brother-in-law are back there. And we're doing Zooms for Christmas, and that's hard. But we just thought from a player standpoint, we needed to do that for them. So far it's been great, and we've had no positive test within the players. So, hopefully we were able to do that and get back safe. It looks like we have, but you still don't know as you travel now and play games.
What are your thoughts on New Mexico? I mean, they've had a really weird off season, only played a couple D1 opponents and struggled against Boise.
Yeah, really athletic. And we're not taking too much into the Boise thing because, as I mentioned before, I think Boise is they're one of the two best teams in our league. So, but they were very athletic. They want to play a fast tempo game. It's the first team we played that's really pressed. So we're going to see a pressing team for the first time. So, and we have not been handling the ball well. So it's something we need to get Daniel Foster back. I think that will really help us. I think he's about 2 weeks out. So we'll be excited to get him back. I think that'll really help us in the backcourt because our backcourt's very young. And there's a lot of pressure, obviously, on Grant, and that'll help. But Kane has come back. Kane's had a lot of good practice since coming back, and I think that's going to be huge for us. I think Trey is getting better and better with the experiences he's getting. But we just got to do a much better job, I think, of handling that pressure because they're going to come at us full court, and we haven't seen that yet. They're great on the backboard. They average 17 offensive rebounds. So I think big keys are going to be how we handle the pressure, and can we make them play against our half-court defense. If we're not turning the ball over and they got to play against our half-court defense, I feel good about it. But if we're in transition and we're on our heels, they drive the ball well, they post the ball well, and they hit the backboard extremely hard. I think those are going to be keys. The foul line is going to be a key. Can we draw fouls? Can we get easy points at the foul line? I think that's going to be a key too.
Coach, going up against Paul, what are your thoughts on just coaching against friends and former colleagues? Is it something you really relish or not so much when you get the opportunity?
Yeah, Paul was with Coach Neal and I in our later years at Iowa, so we go way back. And so when we went to New Mexico, then he got on the New Mexico staff with Coach Menzies and the Patino family tree. So, just happy for him. Anytime you see somebody that has worked for you and then can go on and kind of create their own path, you're always proud of that, and you're always pulling for them. So glad that he's had the ability of leaving our program at Iowa, and he had a door opened at New Mexico State, and now New Mexico. So he's creating his own journey, and that's always fun to watch, see how all that plays out. But as far as competing, you get so wrapped up in your own program and what you're trying to do. The focus really is about what we can do to maximize our abilities and try to get better game to game.
What have been your impressions of Grant's play? It seems like he's been your most consistent and probably best player game to game this year.
Yeah, I just think there's a lot on him, Chris. With Daniel being out, we're getting KC in there a little bit to give him some blows and stuff. But I think he's in better shape now. He's lost some weight, and that's a credit to him. Which again, when you talk about a transfer, he didn't know if he's going to play or not, and we get a waiver in October to where he gets to play. And with COVID, we literally had and we're different. A lot of programs are going through it now, Chris, to where now you're seeing a lot of games postponed. And I think one of the reasons, why we haven't had a lot of postponements, at least on our behalf, is that, our positives and our quarantines happened in the summer. And so, we're through a lot of that. But when you look at it like a guy like Grant, and quarantines and those type of things, he probably missed a month of the summer. And so now he's getting back into rhythm. He came back really good. He's had some really good practices. But I think we've had a lot of talks with him. There's just a lot on his shoulders, and both offensively and defensively. So I think moving forward, it's going to be great for him. But in the short term, it's hard. I think once Daniel gets back, that's going to help. But I think he's been tremendous. He's learning a lot. He's getting better defensively. He's learning to trust teammates to where he doesn't have to force things. But I think he's a really good talent at both ends. And I think he's going to end up producing a great career, and he's getting better and better with leadership. And that's something we're going to need as the season goes on.
All right. That's it for questions. Thanks for joining us, everyone. Coach, thanks for joining us.
Thank you. Thanks so much. Have a great New Year's. Thank you.
Right back at you.
All right. Thanks, everyone. I'll get this onto the box as soon as possible.
Thank you, man.
Thanks, Andrew.